Greeting, fellow modeler. I hope you are doing quite well. Glad to have you aboard. So here, for the first time, I will be doing the AH-1 Cobra from Fiddlers Green. Let's begin. The description on how to get these model, 3 free ones included, go to fiddlersgreen.net. And here we have the AH-1 Cobra, the fuselage. This is going to be a bit complicated. The tail, the pods for the missile, the wing, the exhaust, and the rotor housing, the blades, and the skid. And here is the basic layout of how we're going to assemble it. So let's look at some tools that we will need to get this done. Of course, your Aleene's tacky glue. That, hands down, is what I love. Super glue. Some glue stick, scissors, X-Acto knife, tweezers, many tweezers, and of course my cake decorating tool. And ruler, steel ruler. That's it. Again, here's my own, I would say, strategy, which is to cut the parts out so I can deal with them individually. And this should not be a problem for me because I can focus on it. After we cut all this out, we're going to focus on the most complicated part of this kit, which I suspect is going to be the fuselage. So now that we get rid of the excess, let's tackle the fuselage. So this is going to take a while. Here we just cut off the excess paper, the excess card stock we cut off. There we're going to lightly score it because these are the areas we're going to bend along. So now we have the line there. We're going to score lightly all the areas we need to fold. We're cutting out the engine intake on the fuselage there. We're just cutting off the excess and make sure keep the fold lines. And now we're going to just fold what we can fold. We're just cutting out small areas to take the landing skid, the wing stubs. This is going to be time consuming for you. This took me probably half an hour to make sure I got all the parts scored, all the parts I need to bend and fold and curve, like this part, which is the front of the fuselage. And along that line too, we also score. You see, once we do all of this, it's just going to go together very quickly. We just put a slight curve in there. Nice. Just checking the fitting, and then we apply our glue. I'm going to be honest, I'm pleasantly surprised at how quickly this goes together once we get the cutting and the folding out of the way, and it looks really decent. Of course, you see I'm using a toothpick to strengthen the tail rotor, fin, and then trim off any excess. Using my steel rule, of course, to get the bend there. I think the beauty with this particular model is that it's just a one piece, literally a one piece fuselage. There is no complicated addition, or maybe it's just the fact that this is my first time building a helicopter, so everything is very new, very fresh to me. A nice change of pace, actually. You see how I'm joining one side first, then the other? This helps really with the whole alignment 1 and 2 to make sure the joints are firm. So you see me taking my time using the tweezer. You can never have too much tweezer because you're going to need all size, all shape. It helps with your model going together quite well. So now and again you will see the tweezer, what I'm using, change in the video. Here we're doing the nose and then trim off the excess. Again, I want to remind you, it is not 100% accurate. It's a fun scale, but nonetheless you can get a beautiful results, especially when you paint your model after. So here you see I'm forming the nose, just getting it right, then securing it with super glue. The Alene tacky glue and super glue forms a rock hard bond when completed. You see me there trimming off now the excess that's on the outside. Nice. Loving how this is looking. So let's tackle the engine exhaust. It's a simple thing of just cutting out, roll, and put in the rear. Yeah, that don't sound too good, but you know what I mean. There we go. Starting to look the roll. Now we do our test fit. It looks proper. So now we're going to go ahead and just apply glue and fix in place. Notice the joint is facing down, so you're not seeing it on top. If you like what you're seeing so far and you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. And if you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. Or if not, please leave a like. It really helps YouTube algorithm to recommend this to other persons. And I would really love to see this channel grow. Thank you so much for your support, all of you guys. So the rotor mass assembly is literally 2 pieces. We're going to simply cut out and glue. Do not let the top of the rotor mast scare you, which I'll show you here in a bit. So once we cut out the top for the rotor mast, we're going to not cut it off, but to score so we can fold it. We roll the front. Okay. And now that we have attached it, look at this. Now you might freak out thinking, did they make it too big? No, actually. That is how it looks. The top is actually bigger, it overhangs. So don't be surprised by it. It's quite okay. I secure it again with just the super glue. Once we know it's in place, we are good to go. So let's attach it now to the fuselage. Once we map in place, we use super glue to hold it, and that won't move again. That would be the end of that. Nice. So you see the fuselage again, like I said, it's the most complicated part, but once we tackle that, we're good to go. with getting the rest of it completed. The boom stabilizer at the back here, yes, we're going to just create holes in the back here. This is where we'll put our toothpick. That will take the boom, and while we're at it, might as well do the ones for the wing stub that's right by the fuselage. Now, because we do not want the paper to sink or anything, we're going to secure in place using super glue. And now we're going to put the stabilizer on. Once we cut it out, you see me use a steel rule to fold. But then also I am rolling the edge, and then I apply the glue. Now notice how it goes on, okay? So you're not caught off guard. You notice it looks swept back? That is fine. That's actually how it looks. I did a double take. I look at the actual models, the actual aircraft, and yes, that is how it's shaped. It is swept back like that. So that's fine. So the wing stub assembly now, it's the same like what we did for the stabilizer. The same technique of once we cut and we fold using the steel rule, we're going to curve the leading edge and then slide over the toothpick at the front. You see how we're using our toothpick to form the curve. We glue, super glue to just hold it quickly in place. And then we're going to fix to the location by the cockpit. And that's to quickly fix it in place. And then we repeat the same to the other side. So this is a rocket or the tow missile launch rack. Here is just we're using the back of the blade. We're going to now just fold, glue, and we're going to put on the tip of the wing stubs. A quick tip here. When we're applying the rack to the edge of the wing stubs, it is tilted a few degrees upward, because when you look at the real model, that is how they were what held the tow tube missiles. So the tail rotor, just get a sheet of bond paper. Here I'm just using the scrap from the instruction, and I'm rolling it over a toothpick, and then I'll make it smaller as time goes. We apply glue to just hold everything in place, and this is what we're going to use. We cut the angle so that once we push it under there, it will connect and flush with the tail fin. And then we super glue in place. Don't worry about it like that. We'll paint it later and you will see how good it looks. The armament, we're going to make our tow missile tubes the same way we did the rotor. We're going to just roll it over a toothpick, the bond paper, and we are going to do 4 of them. So it's 2 tubes a piece for the wing stub rack, and we secure in place with super glue. That now is a rocket pack rail. So you cut, you fold, you glue, and then pretty much it's to roll these pieces using the handle of my X-Acto knife. And then we're going to secure the end each with the caps. There you go. Other end now. Good. Now it's starting to look good. And then of course we put the mounting rack on the rocket pod. Do the other one. And after we have done this, we now secure it to the wing stub. And they're looking good. The chin turret is 3 pieces, as you see here. So first we glue this part, and then we apply the covers on either end. So it's pretty straightforward. But for the gun barrels, what I will do is get the toothpick and splice it into 4 parts. You see I'm using the steel rule to flatten and not my finger. That way I do not dent or press in the edges. Use your X-Acto knife, punch 3 holes in close proximity. This will represent the gun barrel. There you go, we're putting them in. And then we're going to use glue first to tack them in place, then super glue to make sure they don't ever move. There you go. Apply some glue to there, and nice. So here's where the magic happens now. Mix the colors close as possible. We're going to paint our toe tube to match a rocket pod, and then we mix colors close to match a camo scheme. And look at how the tail rotor blade shaft, you see it's blending with the main body. That's it. And anywhere that has white, from the edge of the paper, the cardstock, to anywhere that has white, we're going to paint to match the surrounding color. So therefore it brings some realism. The toe missiles now, we're going to just simply glue to the rails on the wing stub. Nice. That's it. The landing skids, originally they say you can use a paper clip. For me, what I did is double the cardstock, strengthen it with super glue, and I'm just making an approximate mark for how realistic. It's just an eyeball for what the landing gear should look like. So I take it out, do a basic measurement, and then we're going to replicate it for the skid rail at the back. Apply a little glue. We're going to just use that to hold it in basic place. Super glue to firmly hold. And you see how I'm bending the skid rails? Now, the skids themselves was made out of 2.5mm cardstock. It's very thick cardstock that I doubled twice, and that I use. Now, to get it aligned, I use a grid square that's actually on the mat you see to make sure that they're level. Then I'm going to secure everything and strengthen everything with the super glue. And there you have it. Looking good. Looking really good. Not much left. So the rotor blade, we're dealing with the main one. It's a simple 1-2, as we say in my country. You're going to just cut the blade out, fold, glue, and we're going to make for each side. But now we don't want the blades drooping. So once we do both the blades, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a strip of the toothpick and I'm going to put it at the root. Glue to one side and then glue the rotor blade there. So that way it won't droop and it will look pretty decent. We're aligning the blade to where it's supposed to be and nice. We then punch a hole to where the shaft for the main rotor is. Estimate, we cut, and we're going to glue it to the blade. Then we push down onto the chopper. The tail rotor, it's a simple thing again. Same avenue, we treat it the same way. And there you have it, almost completed. This is fun. Yes, it took a longer time for me. This is something that is sort of new and I'm trying to get used to it. Certainly different from the airplanes. I really love how it looks. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. Here is the final product. I hope you like it. Thank you so much to the kind Patreon sponsors who help support this, and you, my valued viewer. So until then, my friends, seriously speaking, walk good, be gentle to yourself, and one love.